Wally Hakeem, and it's a pleasure to welcome three members of the distinguished musical group Black Sheep. Brothers, welcome.
Thank you very much, brother.
How and when was Black Sheep formed, and what's the mission and purpose of the musical organization?
Black Sheep was formed in February 1981. Our mission and purpose is to spread love, people, especially amongst black people. And our mission also is to spread unity. And actually we're calling people to come together under one banner, under one God.
That's quite an unusual name, Black Sheep. How was the name formed?
Well, Black Sheep, as we all know, has a negative connotation as far as this European society is concerned. They try to really reinforce in our mind that everything that is black is negative. Now, we know this not to be true. And so we're about the mission of changing this thing around, really re-educating our people to have a more positive self-image and to not think of black as negative. So we call ourselves Black Sheep, but when people check out our music, they see that we're very positive. We're all about love, and we're all about bringing people together. All peoples, really, but especially our people who've been scattered all over the earth here. And
that sounds real positive to me. Maybe there'll be some more definitions for the word black that'll take on some positive meanings.
hopefully.
Reggae music. Just what is reggae music, and what are its roots?
Okay, its roots are distinctly African, and the rhythm was first exposed to the Westerners by the Rastafarians who came out of Jamaica, so to speak. And the music mainly is directed towards the more humble motives of our brethren and sistren. And we try to inspire as much, like the brothers said, love and harmony amongst us, especially Africans. And our lyrics are designed primarily to de-Europeanize our concept of the world, basically, living here in the West as an African.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Reggae music. Well, all music has a special kind of language, and I noticed that reggae music has its own special kind of language and kind of sound. Could you say something about the language of this music, brother?
Well, the language of reggae music, like most reggae music, comes out of Jamaica or comes out of England, anywhere where blacks were settled. And the language of reggae music comes from the population, which is coming from the African people, which were slaves, which are now mostly musicians singing, spreading one love, one message. Words like Irie, meaning fine, good, better than good. Words like Jah, meaning God. Spliff, meaning herb or marijuana. There are thousands of different words, thousands of different ways to communicate, depending on where we settle. That depends on the kind of language that we use in the music.
Language. Well, I've heard the word Rasti and Rastafarian. Now, I have a pretty good idea about Rasti and Rastafarian, but I don't know if most of the audience does. Would you say something about that, brother?
Rastafari. Yeah, Rastafari is actually the name that was given to His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie at birth. Haile Selassie took the name Haile Selassie on his coronation. So Rastafari, really, Ras is a title. This is equivalent to governor here, and Tafari is his name. Tafari Monacum. Monacum is his last name.
Now, I believe that he is a direct descendant of Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. Well, what about some of the culture of Rastafarian or Ethiopia?
Well, Rastafarians really, because of the prophecy of Honorable Marcus Garvey, who said that a king who is going to come out of Africa that'll draw our people together. This king is Haile Selassie, and the evidence of that is the Rastafarians right now, and it's the movement of love, the movement of uniting black folks, around a positive thing, which is Africa. Africa is our homeland, and people need to be surrounded around the banner of Africa, and we only need one king, and that's Haile Selassie, Majesty.
Well, I noticed that a lot of groups that play reggae music have a different kind of expression as far as their hair is concerned. Many people call them dreadlocks, but what is the significance of the hair, the locks, or the dreads to the music?
Well, mainly it is a sign of freedom, and it's also a characteristic of the Judean line, which was referred to just a minute ago. And in these times, we see all people, trying to be as Europeanized as people, even going to the extreme of Jerry curls and whatnot. Well, it's the other extreme. It's an extreme of liberty, really, and assertiveness, and also strength, basically.
Well, after a while, sometimes it's hard to separate those that do it as a symbol for freedom and those that do it as a symbol of fashionability. For example, I've noticed a number of persons who have been locking their hair, and they aren't exactly spiritual nor musicians. I even saw 2 Europeans recently doing that. And that reminds me of something else. What's the difference between commercial and hill reggae music? Is it all the same, or is there a real difference, or?
Well, there is a difference in the sense that the reggae music we hear in the hills are non-electronic, so to speak, as opposed to the one we hear in the city. Because in the hill, there is that freedom, and also yes, in the Caribbean, and the kitty drum is more used in the hill and could be heard without any form of amplification and any outside distraction, so to speak. And that's the prime difference really between the reggae music we hear in the hills as opposed to the reggae music we hear in the city, so to speak.
I see. That reminds me of Bob Marley. A lot is said about Bob Marley, the late great Bob Marley. What kind of music was he associated with? Hill, reggae, or reggae music that wasn't so? I refuse to use the word commercial with Bob Marley.
Bob was really a messenger, So that means that Bob came from the roots, but Bob really spread out. And because of Bob, there's a lot of other people that got turned on to reggae music and the whole culture of Rastafari. So the only way to describe Bob is he was a true messenger and a pioneer, and Bob did his work as he's supposed to.
Well, I suppose that's his legacy. That's what he has left for others to learn from. Where do you think reggae music is going in the future?
Well, looking at the United States, reggae music is very small. It's to a small audience right now. But I think in the future, reggae music has a bigger audience, will have a bigger audience, and it will spread out a lot more. In Europe, in Africa, reggae music is as popular as, let's say, Rick James, or let's say from years back, James Brown was. Reggae music will probably be a lot bigger once people start trying to look for more spirituality, because actually that's what reggae music is all about. It's about us trying to look into ourselves for some answers, look to ourselves to uplift ourselves, because we, as a people, we first have to change the condition of ourselves before we can change anything, and it's from an individual basis that the change has to come from. So as we listen to reggae music and we start listening to the lyrics of the music, hopefully that will uplift us to strive for some higher goals and some higher ground. Right now, it seems like a lot of our people are into "Ooh Baby" and "Baby I Love You" and things like that. So hopefully over a period of time, with us trying to develop and trying to come closer as a people, reggae music will help us come closer that way.
Appears that reggae music loves mankind from the inside out as opposed from the outside in. You know, many times people like someone because of how they look on the outside as opposed to their inner qualities.
Instead of looking at the person, we have to start looking at the deeds that people do now.
Alhamdulillah, brother. I see you have a tremendous design there. Being a graphic artist, I notice pictures before I notice anything else. I take it that's one of your albums.
Yeah.
Could you tell us something about it?
Well, this is Black Sheep's first album right here. It's entitled Gathering. And, well, the album is all compositions by Black Sheep. And I guess you'll get a chance to hear some of it. It's, like I said, it's entitled Gathering. And the concept really is gathering together of all of the righteous seekers in these times. You know? So rather we've been born here, there, or wherever, you know, it's when the time comes, there'll be people of all creeds, colors, and tongues, and nationalities that'll just bow before the Creator, you know? And that's what the gathering is all about.
Well, I want to bring up something that's not that spiritual, and you have to excuse me, but I guess we all have to deal with the truth sooner or later, a part of it, and that's the business aspect of recording. I know the thousands of albums that are produced in this country, many of them are distributed by these large record companies. A lot of good music is just not distributed, just not heard. How is the distribution being handled on your album?
Blackfire Distributors out of Washington, D.C. are going to be distributing this album. And that's a black company. They've been doing some work, mostly with some African kind of music. Chief Bear, and they've been distributing. They've also been distributing Oneness of Juju, you know, and I think it's a good opportunity for us to work together as brethren and brethren, you know, in terms of building each other. You know, this album, by the way, is on our own label, and we've undertaken a lot of the work along with some good brethren at the community warehouse and the studio and whatnot. A lot of people who have helped us along the way, and we are trying to really make that a good sharing venture for everyone, you know.
Well, you know, I said that we had three members of Black Sheep, and it's too bad we didn't talk about the group a little earlier. But how many members are there in Black Sheep?
Well, there's 6 of us in Black Sheep.
Where was this album recorded?
Well, we recorded the album in Washington, D.C. The studio is called Lion and Fox Studio. And like Ishmael was saying, we produced this album ourselves because in this country, reggae music is an underground music. So that the kind of stations that will be playing their album will probably not be commercial stations right now. And most this is independent. So we'll have a lot of colleges playing our record, and we'll be pushing the record ourselves a lot. I'll mention the names of the brothers in the group. Ishmael, to my left, he's a drummer. Moata, he plays bass. My name is Isa, and I'm keyboards. We have Jelani, he plays guitar, and he's the lead singer. And Ambadouile, he's a percussionist. And Dantes, he's our saxophone player. And together we're Black Sheep. And again, this is our first album. And we've been working about a year trying to get the album out, trying to get the album together. And we've been up and down the East Coast. Well, we've been as far as Atlanta. We've been up as far as Connecticut. And everywhere we've been meeting a lot of positive brothers and sisters who are on a One Love vibe and who want to see the music get out and who also want to just see us all come together under one love and just see us all come together constructively, because since we've been in the country, since the first slave ships hit the country, we've been separated as a people. And now it's time for us to start coming together. And since music is such a universal language and it's such a big media, this is a good way for us all to come together and for us all to share that one love vibe.
That's a beautiful concept. Who wrote most of the music on the album?
We collectively wrote the songs together.
Definitely a group effort. That's
We're
beautiful.
all black sheep in some kind of way, shape, form, or fashion.
Right. This is Wally Hakeem, and we're three members of Black Sheep. I want to thank you all for joining us for this bit of time. I want to wish these brothers peace, love, and harmony in their future directions, and I hope we will be together soon. Peace.
Peace and love.
We want to thank you too, brother.